All right, so as we continue to move through the slide deck here, we're going to get into what are the security challenges that we see in today. So over on the left, you can see the top security challenges. In the middle, the list of the risk, and then it goes through the top 20 throughout the right-hand side. So what does this mean to you guys? The increased sophisticated cyber criminals. That sounds fancy, doesn't it? What does that mean?
They're smarter, they know more about what they're doing, they have more time to come up with better ways to steal from you.
Right, and if you learn something through this course, it's probably that the United States is probably not the best at keeping secrets, but some of our adversaries, we may not even know what they know. And you can think about what happened with Sony this past weekend, how it didn't take them long to be able to jump on their network and get as much information as they wanted to off that network. We'll talk a little bit about some of these DLP, the data loss prevention and data leakages, like Bradley Manning, and some of the things that happened with the WikiLeaks, because it's super important that we try to protect our customers' data, even if it's not the DoD. I mean, just your customers' data. It's super important. Some of the things, as you just look down here, the exploited vulnerabilities. I think, if you know of something, then there's a good chance somebody else knows of something, and that something could be a vulnerability. And if you do know it, there's a good chance somebody's posted something online on how to exploit it. So it goes through the different lists, the list of the different risks here in the middle and the right. What is a botnet? Do you guys know what a botnet is?
So where they make, go out and use the computers, like zombie computers, to take over?
Yeah, so typically what we see is the association between what you just said is exactly right. We talk about in a logical sense here, a master-slave relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So in a computer world, master and slave. So with the botnet here, he's got, let's say the master's up top here. He has command and control, so C2. So underneath this master then sends out, an email or a download that puts on a Facebook or somewhere that's out there, that hopefully people will do a click event and open it up and let it install on their machine. So we have all these different laptops that are on this botnet, this robot network, this botnet, right? What does this mean? Well, the master then has a little agent that's running on each one of these guys, and it's essentially a slave. So I'll just put S for each one of these. It's essentially a slave, and what he can say is hey, at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, 10:00 tomorrow morning, what I want you to do is I want you to, we'll just put Denise down here, kind of, she's smiling on her laptop right here. What we can do is tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, this guy sets up a little cron job, a little synchronous job, or some scheduled task, the master. He sends it out to the agents, each one of them out here, these little slaves that are out on the network, and this could be in the number represented here, that all of a sudden at 10:00 tomorrow morning, each one of these guys is going to go out here and try to perform some sort of denial of service attack.
So have a DDoS.
So that is a distributed denial of service attack in that case. So if you recall, like we talked about in this particular case with the WikiLeaks that happened, if you recall, leading up, there was such a anticipation to what was going to be published out there. If you recall, same sort of thing happened out there to that WikiLeaks website that just brought it to its knees days leading up, and then post facto when they said that they were going to publish it. Well, can we assume, because I don't have any inside knowledge, can we assume that the United States has some sort of power like this?
Oh yeah, they should have done that.
So
for good instead of evil.
Absolutely. And what we can assume is that these guys or any website out there can become significantly overwhelmed and be brought to its knees through a distributed, which means many, denial of service attack. And we'll talk about the different types of denial of service attack. Essentially, if Denise here has a cup, and this is the cup of the carpenter, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the cup here she has can only allow n amount of different threads simultaneously, and then we bring in n plus 1,000, this becomes an overflow, and then there's no longer any service left here for Denise to offer. That's why they call it a denial of service attack. So one day a year, typically we see just normal websites brought to their knees inadvertently. Can you guys think of what that one day a year is?
Cyber Monday.
That's a good guess. Good guess. No, I would think that you would think people are gonna. I mean, if you got a good product, people are gonna buy it from you, right? On Cyber Monday. Usually on Super Bowl Sunday, we see some of the advertised things that come on, commercials. I think a couple of years ago, the Prince William, his wife, whatever her name is, they had a baby. And if you remember, the baby was wearing some sort of onesie. Well, that onesie provider, their website just went straight down when they advertised that they were wearing whoever.
So everybody's buying.
Everybody's buying. They want to hit up the website, and if the website's only looking for 1,000 users and 1 million come at it, it just comes and just craps out completely. So it's important that, at least conceptually, I mean, that's kind of a lame way to say it, because if you have only a certain amount that you're trying to offer up, and then 10 times that amount that tries to get at that offering, something's got to give, and usually...
So is it basically just overwhelming the network? It's more than what the network can hold.
That's it. That's it. It used to be, about 10 years ago, the actual appliance would crash. They completely just get blue screen, or maybe just reset itself. And then once it reset, you lose all the connections until it boots back up, and then whoever was in the queue, they would be first in. But now, a lot of them actually just reset on the fly and just will drop everything. But most of them have a pretty high threshold now. But Amazon, they published about 2 months ago that they were under distributed denial of service attack. And it's very difficult to just block every one of those IPs, especially when they're using anonymizers or they're changing IP addresses rapidly. Kind of like what we can do right here. We can just change IP addresses on the fly with this Linux distribution.
But can't they go into and like take over, like say someone infected my computer and take over and use my computer, like the resources in the background, or may not even notice it running?
Absolutely, absolutely. There was a project that started back before I was born, and it really, I think, helps hammer this home a little bit. It's called SETI. You guys familiar with SETI?
I've heard of it.
So SETI is not anything related to the Yeti, because that's the abominable snowman. So SETI is the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. And if you actually look this up, extraterrestrial, I think that's the intelligence. what you could do is you could sign up, and you still can do it, to have any idle processing on your machine be consumed at night as long as you leave your computer on, and all you have to do is install the agent. So that's a good botnet, if you will, that is used out in the real world, and they're becoming much more popular because really with supercomputing you can't keep up with some of the things that are going on social media right now. So a lot of times government agencies are using agents on the distributed computing environment to try to keep up with social media, to try to find some crowd, what do they call it, flash mobs, and or keywords for people, you know, looking for maybe like the Boston bombings a couple years ago. They use distributed computing power to try to keep up with it. There's a lot of different things that are out there. Really, each and every one of these could be a career for somebody. Each and every one of these could be a career for somebody. So let's get into some of these hacking concepts here.